welcome back. It is the grand finals of the Corsair Cup Season 3 finals. And we have a ZvP in our hands. We're loading into Abyssal Reef in the bottom right. That's the Red Protoss. He is ShoWTimE. In the top left, as the blue Zerg, he is Liquid Snoot. Heart Revenge says, he subbed on your channel. Thank you, Heart Revenge. While we get the game set up, I suppose, it is going to be a while before anything actually really happens. Unless ShoWTimE they're gonna forge. No, it's a gateway, what a surprise. Yeah, someone came in the chat asking about, I guess, showing off your room as a streamer and full-time, this and that, and other things, and I almost feel like it's not worth talking about on stream for, as I answered them in chat, but also, it is such a, like, it happens once every, like, dozen casts or something, right? Which, to be fair, is like a dozen days with us, but still. Where someone really legitimately is like, it doesn't look very professional, why don't you upgrade? And for me, I just, it seems not to really be a reason to, and I don't mean, like, I'm lazy and I get away with it. I mean, like, everybody does it. If everyone jumped off a bridge, you do it too, whatever, man. But no, seriously, like, and it has even become a thing to be appealing about streamers. Like, some people love when people green screen, and they have very limited space to their face, you know, as much game as possible. Some people love that, and some people really like the fact that you can see the background of the room. You know, they might take a little bit more space in the game, but it still looks okay because they have like this overlay and all that. I'm actually on the side of not wanting a green screen behind me, but also I have thought about it a lot and looked at other streams that I watch, and I'm like, I like when I can see a little box with their face in it and their setup behind them. So a lot of that probably has to do with what people are mentioning, and just like there's a lack of money. Like, who's gonna invest into a Twitch stream and buy an office studio? Because there's no flipping guarantee a Twitch stream will get very big. And because they don't start off that way, it's become almost friendly. Like, it's that community feel that Twitch allows you to have, where, you know, sports casting and all that doesn't. Where you can see and remember, like, oh, ZombieGub's action figures behind her wall changed, or, oh, ZombieGub's cat Apollo is doing something really funny behind me. Like, people have become kind of attached to that idea and like it. So, while people make fun of my bed all the time, which is why this whole conversation arose, and that might be true, I really think it's not just okay, in some ways it is preferable to stay in a nice cozy room. But that's just me. So, if I moved out, which, you know, when I move out, I suppose, eventually I'll move out, I would make my background look nicer, because I won't have 26 years of stuff in the same room I've been in for 17 years, all collected together. It still would be my room. I mean, one of the favorite things I like watching was like Tasteless's background. I was like, oh my god, I've seen Tasteless's room that he streamed. Oh my god, that's so amazing. Or like the background of the team houses, right? As something a little more important happens, lanes do get through. This looked like it was gonna be an all-in because he was hiding him so well, but it's not. He's got a third base on the way and drones on the way. But what's interesting, now that topic is kind of done and over with, is that a robo has been scouted. Like, this is a very quick robo. This is like, well, it's not just a quick robo, it's probably gotten immortal very quickly, I guess, is the real concern here. It's not a warp prism, it's not an observer. So, if you saw that immortal pop out, which I think he just barely missed, oh, I'm actually not sure, damn. That link might have seen it. That's just really weird. People don't usually do fast immortals anymore, but when you do, and you could, like, on, like, not Dassault Station, but that other map that had, like, that very skinny bridge in the middle, that map, there was actually a lot of early immortal pushes with sentries, because you could have used the bridge very easily. Yeah. If you don't have a situation like that, this could just be a surprise factor, and the warp prism still adds a lot to it. So it still is a scary little push. It's little, it's tiny. It's one warp prism full of stuff plus 3 more gateways to attack, but it can do an okay amount of damage. A couple subs coming in here. Thank you, Blobblebee, for the Twitch Prime sub 2 months in a row. Still haven't had time to pick up and actually learn StarCraft. By far, it's still my favorite game to watch, and the BaseTradeTV group makes it. Thanks for doing what you guys do. It's a very nice message. Thank you very much. Message. My words are failing me here. And thank you to Finalius for the 33-month resub. That is a long time. But here comes the push. Snoot had a Roachborn on the way. He saw the Robo and was probably a little concerned about what that meant. But who expects an Immortal drop with like 2 Adepts and a Soccer Warp in? Or maybe that Soccer came with him, I'm not even sure. But the point is, like, who expects that? No one. So Soccer gets surrounded. Unfortunately, he is going to die without any help. But 3 drones, a Queen. Actually went down here. And, of course, the handful of links from earlier, I guess. Not really the most effective little drop you've ever seen. But the question is more like, does it do what it wanted? Did it maybe not kill drones, but does it give you a fast third, just like another build? Does it save you later on from a Roach counter? Like, I think there are more ways to determine if that was worth it for ShoWTimE than just the fact that he killed a couple drones. And that might be that it's still alive, even. You know, like the Archons usually aren't scary initially with the Archon DT build, but it's because the Archons can continue attacking you that makes it really scary. And maybe that's it. But, well, it's not double pumped Immortals later on. It is single pumped Immortal early on, so he still will have an Immortal count if that is the way that Snoot would play the game. But Snoot hasn't really been playing heavy on the Roaches. So it should just be, it's not about countering the units that Snoot has, it's about having enough powerful units to take on anything. And that seems to be the case here. A lot of sentries have been banking a lot of energy. Stalkers being warped in. Third base not fully saturated. He stopped producing probes. And Snoot maybe didn't expect that. He saw third was being taken. Probably thought that he wouldn't have to worry about anything else for quite some time. Has droned to 68. Taken a 4th base. Has not built any Banelings quite yet. And I tell you, that War Prism initially was a surprise. I'm guessing this attack was even more of a surprise for Snoot. Not usually the way we're seeing Protoss played. Just straight up. And I don't think ShoWTimE has to rely on playing differently to beat Snoot. It is certainly a great way to get a first game. These mass sentries are only just now really using their force fields, by the way. Like, they have so many more. And Snoot, I think he preemptively made a couple Ravagers. He had these 3, but not enough. 28 drones down. ShoWTimE could go back into probing. But it looks like he's going to win here, so. Blocks out the main reinforcements, too. It's like totally unnecessary. He doesn't have to, but he does. He's smart. And Snoot is Snoot's dead. He's probably thinking, like, what the hell? What was this? What happened here? But that's it. GG, well played. Game number 1 goes to ShoWTimE. Alright, both players are ready. It is still just a best of 5, even if it is the finals. And Snoot was probably just not expecting that type of game. He was already, I mean, he was probably worried, you know, like, okay, I gotta deal with Adepts, and what if he goes, you know, goes into like Phoenixes, and like, oh my god. No Zerg is really happy with the state of ZvP, I suppose. It's the easiest way to say it. But then you add on this other thing with like an Immortal drop into an Immortal push. Like, this is some, I didn't sign up for this. Not sure if ShoWTimE's gonna show something like that again, but maybe he's just gotten bored of the style, or maybe this really was something where he thought Snoot had a really good chance against him and wanted to mix things up. Who knows? In the bottom left, he is up 1-0. Either way, it is ShoWTimE. In the bottom right is the Blue Zerg. He is Liquid Snoot. So yeah, I don't think that ShoWTimE thinks he's going to win 3-0. Nor do I think he came into this thinking Snoot was such a great player that he would lose 3-0 if he played Standard. I would imagine the mental state is probably a little worse for Snoot, just how ZvP has been going. But it might have been the case that ShoWTimE gave a lot of credit to Snoot's macro and thought if I played like an easy peasy Stargate game or, you know, Fallout presenting Glaives or whatever it is, right? Like, he would have a very good chance to beat me. Then certainly mixing it up and doing something way out of the ordinary would have been the way to go. It did such a mild amount of harassments that early game was not really its highlight point, right? It definitely was the follow-up all in that was almost like not quite a fake third, but one where you do, you know, you don't entirely saturate it. It's always a little bit tricky. And just the amount of sentries. I mean, to be like, people tried Immortal Sentry all in. A little bit of a history lesson, okay? Back when Legacy of the Void was released. And it worked for like a week. And then people found out that the Ravager unit was actually pretty good, and that breaking force fields was more than just the one that appeared on the ramp that screwed you over, which still sucks when it happens. It was actually to break force fields in a direct engagement. So it lasted about a week, and then people decided I'll just go a lot of Ravagers, and then I'll totally beat you, and that's the way it played out for a very long time. So I bring this up because ShoWTimE's army, Immortal, 1 Immortal, 2 Immortal, Sentry, a lot of Sentries, actually would have died to a lot of Ravagers. You can only split so much. The Sentries only do so much damage. But because Snoot just did not have that much of an army, he had droned a little bit too hard, taken a 4th base too early, didn't expect the attack just in general. It was no problem. And even with a lot of Ravagers, I mean, those, it still would have been tricky. There was a lot of Sentries. Casting today is not 3 people but 1. The math is totally wrong on that one. I suck at counting. God. So robotics facility on the way, as well as I thought I saw Toilet Council. Oh yeah, there it is. Finished up. It was trying to be hidden and is now being faked. Look at this. Snoot says like, okay, it's Twilight Council, and it's hidden. I guess I would say nowadays you're a little more scared that it is Resident Enclaves, that they're trying to hide a bigger Resident Enclaves push than usual. But funnily enough, well, this might have been for something else. Having it seen so easily, he slapped down a Robo, and now he's slapping down a Dark Shrine. I'm like pretty sure this was not his original intention, but it ended up being quite the clever little mix-up. And Snoots, who might be thinking not to get Spore Crawlers, first of all, but also maybe have units on the forefront ready to intercept Adepts, is now going to be attacked in potentially multiple locations and potentially without detection. Honestly, it's the DTs that really makes this a scary mix-up of scouting. The Archons or Mass Adepts, both of them you have to have units against, so that's not wrong. But if he thought that there wouldn't be any need for Spore Crawlers, he would have been absolutely entirely wrong. He sees a Warp Prism, even though he didn't see a Robo, but it's still kind of undetermined for Snoot if it's going to warp in a lot of Adepts or DTs. But Snoot covering all of his bases, no matter what, goes ahead and gets Spore Crawlers. This definitely saves a base. No Spore Crawlers and no Lair means that this hatchery would have gone down easy peasy. But now it is not the case, and ShoWTimE simply has an opener instead of a trick. Which puts both of them in okay position, basically. Could have been worse, though. 3rd base comes down at this location. That's, I don't mind this for ZvP. I mind it for PvT, though. I think it's so dangerous to do against those, excuse me, those tank pushes, but... some SimCity is usually good, but not all SimCity. Usually then you just lose your gateways. Lair finally on the way, and there's a lot more droning. Roaches might have only been made to deal with the initial attack, so they'll just probably turn to Ravagers, and then on to Ling, Baneling with the upgrade. I guess Snoot did mix in Hydras the last CVP we cast of them, so that's also potential, but we see actually 6 more Roaches, so maybe sticking on that tech a little bit longer. Double Archons, of course, can get a couple of nice shots, certainly take out Queens, but it's a lot more just like scouting than it is anything else. And Snoot should also be looking towards that 4th base. Now Snoot, yeah, okay, he did see the 3rd base, alright, so. No tricky follow-ups usually off the back of Dark Shrine, usually. So he should feel very comfortable droning and get a 4th base, and he'll be right this time in doing that. The trick, I would say, actually comes down to, again, not like cutting your probes right here, but just depending on a recall, saving your butt push. Is that what I'll call that? Sure, that's what I'll call that. You have like 6 Sentries and 2 Immortals, or something very small like that. You push forward, you test the water, and if it doesn't work out, you recall. That's the only thing I think Zergs really have to be worried about, for the most part, immediately after they see the 3rd base. And then, of course, as the game goes on, they have to worry about Blink Stalker attacks, which is not what ShoWTimE is doing, or just in general, how do you deal with Charge Lot Immortal, which is what ShoWTimE is doing. Hydras are on the way. They are going to be covered by quite a few Roaches this game, though. Not just Ling Hydra or, you know, handful of Ravager Hydra like he did on that one Paladino game. Oh, actually Roaches. Even getting their upgrade. Of course, everything speed, everything range. A lot of emphasis on that. But a 4th base, which ShoWTimE did scout. And now I guess on his side, he might not have to worry about being all in, so he's going to poke forward. This is kind of that poke I was talking about, right? Like, I didn't get the number of units right, to be honest, but it's kind of the same deal. It's like, it's really not that big of an army. It is powered by quite a few gateways, so it's still like it could become a very strong army, but it's not, you know, 150 supply for ShoWTimE, it's 150 supply for Snoot. And he's adding in actually a lot now, so it's actually a very scary army. Initially, 4 sentries and 2 immortals is not scary, but with 2 more immortals and 5 more archons, okay, then that's pretty fearsome. So I'm gonna be very careful about how he does this, though. Their armies are at this critical point where it's going to be about positioning for both of them. And ShoWTimE decides that it's not worth... He did not catch Snoot going to 80 drones or something like that, or Hive, which is what Snoot did against Mana in his first ZvP series. But while he retreats, Snoot thinks there might be a time to engage, is not right about that. He gets a lot of force fields. And remember, it was only 4 sentries, so that's a lot of the force fields already used. But with the Warp Prism buying time, it's as good as force fields. Warp Prism's gonna live, Archons dropped, Zealots warped in, Drone's gonna go down, and the entire army of Snoot has to pull back. He might lose that lair, rather. The Archons go for the drones instead, so maybe the lair finished. Oh, gets saved. 100, to 0. That's dead. Well, that's too bad. The Archons would have made it really dead, but the Zealots managed to get it done. That was a mineral cost, and at this point in the game, you still are a little bit worried about minerals, but I think it would be worth it. Because the thing is, Zergs are already in danger of staying on lair tech for far too long and losing out, especially once Storm is done. You take out that lair, and you really do not give them a chance to even prepare for the late game, which is something they need to do once Storm is out. They either get to the late game, or they find some really sick wraparound run-bys, you know, that type of thing. And I would say that's actually kind of hard to do on Newkirk. It's a pretty straightforward map. Force fields come down. That is all the force fields left over, and none for Guardian Shield. And they are just broken. That is like 6 immortals, 4 Archons, and Storm is just about ready to go. I think those Lings barely saw the High Templars getting energy, and if you see High Templars not immediately morphing into Archons, just assume that they're going to have Storm. That's the unfortunate assumption you have to make. 4 Storms ready to go, hit the Banelings, hit the Hydras. They are trailing behind a little bit, so the Zealots are going to take care of, but the Immortals are still standing strong. 2 more Storms, and Snoot just going to tap out. His army cannot take that on, and there wasn't that much of a remax. He was out of gas. Welcome back, everybody. It is the potential final game of this series of the tournaments. It's in the bottom left, up 2-0 in a best of 5. He is ShoWTimE. And top right, as the red Zerg, it is Liquid Snoot. Having trouble. ShoWTimE does something a little bit weird in the first game. Can't blame him too much for not expecting that follow-up. Does something pretty normal in the second game, or as close to normal as you can get without being extremely normal, I suppose. Which is a Dark Templar opener with the added little trick of the Chrono Boost on the Twilight Council that wasn't actually researching. Snoot didn't really fall for it, though, and that's what made it, you know, basically a normal game. Well, I really do wonder why Snoot didn't fall for it. If he saw something else that told him that wasn't the case, or maybe just because the Twilight Council was back there. Because, like, once upon a time, if a Twilight Council was hidden, you know, either in proxy or, like, in the corner of a base, you didn't think it was because for Blink, although that could have been the case. You thought it was for a Dark Shrine to be also put next to it. At least, that's what I would say. Maybe I'm wrong. But nowadays, because Resident Enclaves is so good... I think even hiding that early would also have been very useful, and I think that was ShoWTimE's initial plan. But anyway, Snoot didn't fall for it. Snoot Just covered all of his bases, literally, with sport crawlers. So the probe gets a pretty early scout here. Snoot not the type to go for early pulls too often, but if he is feeling frustrated, if anyone feels frustrated, getting in some cheese, if not to end the game, but at least to give you a little bit of feeling of control, is totally viable. So getting an early scout in is safe and doesn't take too much of your time or your money. And will maybe save ShoWTimE from even losing a game. Now, Keen ended up taking a game off of ShoWTimE, which I think otherwise he would have had a flawless victory. Yeah, he 2-0'd Euthermal, we cast that, then he 3-1 Keen, and then is on his way to a 3-0 here, unless Snoot can bring something back. But we'll see. What is the Zerg equivalent to a tank push on Bill Shear? We saw a game, actually, that went pretty well for the Zerg player because the Protoss misidentified it as a Roach Ravager attack instead of a Hydralisk all-in. So that could be a thing. But it's hard to depend, you know, have your game depend on your opponent being mixed up. Thank you to Fairlicious for the 2-month resub. Did I miss anything else? Nope, I got finales. I am all good. I might have missed Zulao. That doesn't sound familiar. 20 months happened right before I saw Blobblebee. And Peter Lawford for 3 months. Okay, so I did miss something. And then a lot of bits. A lot of very small bits to keep this boss at just barely 390. Good job, guys. ShoWTimE does have an Oracle on the way. And Snoot has not scouted that, nor will he in time. The Overlord might be able to see the Oracle pop out, but the Stalker's going to keep it from scouting the actual Stargate. And this is the first time we've seen ShoWTimE go for it. The first game was a quick Robo, the second game was a quick Tilot Council. This game it is a Stargate. Snoot has been getting Spore Crawlers, but I was going to say, I thought they were a little bit later than this. These might have been its Proxima Station Spore Crawlers, you know, because Stargates are pretty popular on this map in, like, all matchups. Overlord manages to see the Oracle anyways, so I want to say this Oracle is even on purpose. Like, it doesn't have to suicide it in if it knows where the Oracle is going to try and take a beeline to his base. Oracle going to get in here and see, unfortunately, already a Spore Crawler, so no easy peasy kills for him, or her, for ShoWTimE, or for the Oracle. Mothership Core's on the way, very quick follow-up of Resident Enclaves, not too surprising, it's kind of the thing they do nowadays. Void Ray is a little bit interesting, you only see Protosses every so often, or every other Protoss really is more like it. Get this to kill Overlords, but it can be useful. And then even still, bothers to get the second Oracle. So the Overlords will definitely die, and that's going to be more opportunities for War Prisms later on. Whoopsie. There you go, there's the Oracle. But third base more important, very flawless macro here for both players so far. And Snoot is sure he's gonna have to get a couple of Lings, as I don't think he has a Roach Horn yet. Oh no, he did. That's right. Yeah, Lings or Roaches, or both, whatever. He's gonna have to get a few, because there's always gonna be an Adept attack follow-up, or at least teasing of one. You can never feel comfortable just droning. So 8 Roaches it is. The double Oracle is a little scary. It's double Oracle with the Adept attack that actually makes this suddenly into Queen killers, and then if they kill the Queens, the Oracles can kill drones and Lings. And then on top of that, there's a Void Ray. And if everything came in at once, and Snoot was at the bare minimum defense that you want to be to have the perfect macro game, he could get screwed over. But I don't think it's going to happen. The Oracles look like they're going to try and more so get free kills in the main than try and kill Queens. Oh, no, there they go. They're moving in now. And the Void is going to be used to cancel the base. So these Adepts are on their own. Roaches meet them before they even get the shade in, so they get 1, but these Roaches aren't speedy. They're on creep, so the Adepts just go ahead and pass here. Whoa, a stasis trap! Drone's gonna trigger that however the Roaches are supposed to. That was a really cool idea, and the Oracles do end up trying to help the Adepts a little bit. Not too much, though, as their energy is still being depleted. Oh, this one already had its energy popped. Either way, drones go down. 8 more. Right, to begin with, I guess. 10, 12... 12, and the Adepts get to the Hydralisk, actually. Not too bad if they focus fired. That wouldn't be bad at all if they had focus fired exactly on the Hydras. The Oracles did not try and sacrifice even one of them to get drone kills, but they could have, probably. Somewhere. So they live another day, Revelation, more Oracle kills later, you know, it's all good. Total of 13, 14, well, wait a second. Ah, there we go. 15 drones, and the oracles still live. Not a bad attack, because it also took quite some time to take care of, so there's no immediate counter option for Snoot, even though he does have an okay army. Guess how many Hydras died? I ended up getting 3. See, it's not bad. Pylons, more pylons, just in case. This is probably the most vulnerable part of ShoWTimE's play right here, is after giving away the adepts and investing not into more adepts, but into economy and tech. This is his weakest looking army for some time. So pylons, all 4 popped at once, scares away most armies, to be honest. It's kind of scary. Well, my bad. Well, still 3 overcharges and 1 cannon, kind of the same thing. Oracles are out of energy for Revelation. That's a little bit awkward. This would be the perfect opportunity to do so. And Snoot is looking for a bust. I think this is the way to go for Snoot, though. This is like, not exactly what I was talking about earlier, where that Protoss was like tricked, but it's the same idea. Be aggressive, try and actually break through. Unfortunately, Proxima is such a difficult map to do so because force fields are good here. Oh, he didn't move that sentry. And the sentries are going to go down. I think he has 1 more force field. Oh, yeah, he has more sentries. Only a couple more force fields? That's not going to hold for very long. There they are. That's all of them depleted now, I believe. Oracle's going to go down. This one's still not having any revelation. Still not very helpful. But Warpins are finally coming in. 2 more mortals are on the way. These 2 are going to go down. But now before taking out quite a few roaches, I believe. Voider even comes into play as all the Hydras have died. And the Nexus lives. 54 probes live, keeping them at an even worker count. And while Snoot does have a gold base, it's not mining yet. Now that did take away army and economy, and it took away a very seamless transition into Storm, which is where Snoot had his troubles last game. So he could continue to posture and be aggressive, but don't underestimate Protoss army without Splash, because it's still pretty strong. He doesn't have Blink despite having many Stalkers, that's what I was checking, and he doesn't have +2 quite yet. Actually, it's way far off. But he is building out a mortal count. Pylons have been rebuilt, but the Militia Corps does not have a lot of energy, and Snoot still has an opportunity to win the game right here, right now. Voider is going to be helpful. Archons are helpful. The Immortals, if they're not touched, could just clear away the Roach barrier, the Hydras, and that's when Zealots later on come in. They do have charge. But it's a very difficult position, you know. The force fields are so good in this choke initially, but now they're gone. It's actually more like Protoss is going to get choked in now, so things can be picked off. So it's actually a little bit scary for both parties. The Crows of Battles rain down. The Immortals mostly dodge away from them, but still on the front lines now. Their bears have been popped, and they're going to go down. And I think there's just too many Hydralists. ShoWTimE not going to go flawless in this series either. Snoot takes a game. That brings us to a 2-1. Snoot's at least having something to show on this scoreboard. But game best of 5, game 4, still his last life. It's gonna be ShoWTimE's map choice this time, so quick commercial break. See you soon. Welcome back. Players aren't quite ready to go. ShoWTimE needed a break, but I thought I'd come back and talk about some things because why not? So first of all, we're casting VSL tomorrow and the next day, so we will not be a shortage of casts. The players are ready now. And yeah, we still have a lot of things lined up for April too. Like still have Korean stuff, Korean house stuff to do, lots of Korean casts to do, as well as some unannounced plans for tournaments that are still setting up. So a lot of casting. We'll also be attending DreamHack Austin. Good game. And I assume Montreal as well, but of course Austin a little more in the near future. And we'll be casting there too, so if you're around, say hi. And if you're thinking about going but not quite committed yet, then just go. It's really very cool. Austin's actually a really cool city too, so if you're the type that only has like 4 hours of StarCraft in them and then you're gonna get bored, then Austin's still very worth checking out. Especially if you're into drinking. And that's top left. That's the red Protoss. He is ShoWTimE. On the bottom right is the blue Zerg. He's Liquid Snoot. Potentially last game, even still. Rifkin was just feeling sick, actually. Just really sick and wanted to go lie down, so I had no trouble casting. I'm also a little bit tired. Just there's been a lot of traveling, a lot of effort put into the live finals, and then traveling. And before that, I was traveling just to visit family, so I've I've been back for quite some time. I took like a 13-hour sleep overnight. I just passed out, and that certainly helped. Even I'm a little bit tired, and my voice feels a little bit weak. But I hope you guys are enjoying the Corsair tournament. Anyways, as it is the grand finals and hype and all of that stuff, and yay. But ShoWTimE. Okay, he may have taken a loss in that last game, but still looking like a very, very good Protoss who could just still take the 3-1. It's kind of what happened versus Keen. Keen had one good map with one good push, and that was how he got a game. But he ultimately lost 3-1. Snoots, you know, Proxima was his map choice, and it did work out very well. Belshir was ShoWTimE's, and I fear that's, well, ShoWTimE will just continue as he did in the first 2 games, which is looking very, very good. As we wait for the game to unfold, though, I want to talk about something that I just haven't really talked about, I guess. So me and Rifkin talked about it a little bit in the AMA and maybe somewhere else, I don't remember. Certainly amongst each other. But the Brood War Revival thing, you know, the HD announcement, like, I totally knew it was coming, blah, 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 but I see just, like, you know, Reddit, first of all, had its 48 hours of just, like, shittiness, where, like, everyone was, like, game versus game, blah, blah, blah. And then you had the expected elitists come out of the woodworks, and you had the expected StarCraft 2 elitists come out of the woodworks, the ones that play StarCraft 2, have never really played Brood War, but still say that Brood War is a better game because X or Y reason. All these things were expected. I don't want to talk about that, but, like, I guess seeing a new Reddit thread pop up about it, about how, like, people are going to be probably going back to Brood War. What I do want to talk about is just how much I think people have forgotten how hard Brood War is. Whatever your thoughts on the fact that it's a better game or not, the best game in the world, or second best game in the world, or whatever, a lot of the arguments that have been made against StarCraft 2 for Brood War just aren't exactly true. And I'm gonna be so gleeful that day that everyone streams Brood War, and I'm looking at, like, you know, like little, like, 2-viewer streams, right, with the Brood War remaster. I'm just gonna watch them just, like, suddenly realize that cheese is just as absurd. Like, you're gonna lose your first billion games, okay, because you couldn't defend against 4 Dragoons, and you're like, this is bullshit. And it's a little bit of me whining because I'm so bad at Brood War. That's fine, but it's also just truth, man. Like, as much as it is obnoxious not to scout an Oracle proxy and die to that as a Terran player, it's also obnoxious to have, you know, your tank time and be a little bit late because you got a supply block because your SCV derped out in the mineral line and you lost to a handful of Zerglings. So I'm just throwing it out there. That's what I'm looking forward to. And they get a D Foxy for the 8-month resub, and thank you to Rabbit Aim for the 257 bits. It says hi. Does take a big blow to the boss here. Only 133 health left, it looks like. Yeah. Alright, so that bought enough time to talk about the now opener. So this is the actual committed, not like even an attempted little trick with the Twilight Council. This is the real Dark Shrine DT drop with Archon follow-up. Has Snoot scouted it? The answer is no. He saw the Twilight Council, that was about it. This time I don't even, again, there was no little attempted trick to chrono the Twilight Council, so he knows it is a Dark Shrine. It doesn't seem like a lot to go off of, but it is. And he also knows Overlord's scouting this natural too. So, funnily enough, he kind of maybe misses where the Warp Prism was going to go. Like, no one really expects it in the main base anymore, but it is, so. The Spore Colors cover the mineral lines. They do not cover anything else. In transit between the bases are just a little too far away from the detection range, and these ETs are going to slaughter anything. They have a lot of damage. So they get a Queen, back on off, and just turn Archons, you know, that old chestnut. And Snoot can feel comfortable droning, for the most part. This amount of units is really all he needs, even though he's getting 3 more roaches. Unless there was something really cool, like, oh, look at this. Like what Mana showed us in the beginning of this, of their series, Mana vs. Snoot. Unless it's something like a double Warp Prism or a trick harassment into, like, all-in, where they actually have more gateways and they're warping with a Warp Prism. You don't need more units. But because there's a second Warp Prism and more DTs, those 3 extra roaches would have been so helpful over here. Instead, he cannot cover the Spore Crawler. This is his lair. This isn't the first time he got his lair to 3rd base, but this is one of those times where it's very important that he did. The Spore Crawler, thank God for that buff long time ago where it can now root a lot faster, but the DTs aren't dying fast enough. The lair is going to go down. No! He picks it up, but this is just, it's so close to death anyways. Like, it's going to go down eventually. That's like 2 DT swipes, I think. 24? Like, I think you should go for it. I mean, DT swipes or Archons. Like, either way, this is something that's gonna die, and there's, like, one transfuse? There's almost 2 transfuses, and you should use every single one on it. Oh, I think it's okay now. I think it's safe. Damn. Okay. ShoWTimE has his third base set up. It is also appropriately protected from any counterattacks, but he did invest into 4 more DTs that you usually do not. The Robo and the War Prism mineral is not as important. It's really the 4 extra DTs, because they're also a lot of gas just on themselves. But anyways, it's a lot more committed than you would see from other openers like this, and as such, there are delays on his tech, you know, on his upgrade. For instance, his Forge only just coming down now, but it was almost worth it. He only got 5 drones and a queen, but if he had gotten that lair, that would have maybe snowballed a little bit more, because there wouldn't be any overseers, but not quite happening. Apparently Monty is going down. That sounds like a threat, man. Nah, since Janet gone downhill. I was there last year, so unless it happened in the last year, that place was actually really fun and really cool. Ah, thank you for those bits. This follow-up attack could very well kill Snoot, though, so I gotta focus on that. Looks like Swag Nerd. I love BaseTradeTV has taken the bit boss. I gotta defeat him. 4th base goes down. Charge about to finish. There are no upgrades with this. It's still way, way far away, but the army is quite scary. Snoot is also on his way to Hive. He decided to mix things up to a playstyle we haven't seen quite yet today. Or versus ShoWTimE, rather. He did it versus Mana, which is fast Hive. And because you're going for that Hive, you invested in Infestation Pit, Spire, Hive, eat a couple infestors that do not have patching glands. Your army really isn't that strong. Whereas Snoot should be 20, 30 armor supply up and feeling very comfortable against an army like this, especially in chokes. He's actually feeling a little bit scared. He even skipped his Baneling Nest. He's only on Ling, Roach, Ravager, and this is something that an army could take on as long as it doesn't just get destroyed by Corrosive Biles. War Prism is going to warp in more charge lots. They are not too plentiful. There we go. There's a lot more, but the Archons, honestly, are already getting on top of the Ravagers. The Immortals taking out the Roaches, and I think Stu is just caught being too greedy to that Hive. I don't think ShoWTimE knew it was on the way. Well, okay, I can't check it, damn it. I don't think he had scouted that was Snoot's attention. GG. Well played. ShoWTimE takes the 3-1 and will be the first place winner of Corsair Cup Finals Season 3. Yay! $200 plus they are guaranteed basically for the next season. So that's cool. They get a XXX Ace Blade for the new sub at the end of that game as well. And Crunchman 2600 for the Twitch Prime sub as well. Thank you very much. I see some people saying that they already play Brood War or they know that they love the game. That's fine too. And I am bad at Brood War, so maybe that's just me. But I love playing it. I know I'm bad at it, but I'm just saying, in particular to those people who just kind of bandwagon or theorize only, but don't actually play, watching them go back to remaster and realizing that it's not as beautiful as a game as it looks when it's played by professionals is going to be a shock, I think, for a lot of people, and they won't be willing to admit it. But that's still ways to go, actually, because I don't think people are really jumping on the whole free Brood War thing. I think people will jump on once the remaster comes out. Yeah. I guess I'll go to one last commercial break before we're doing all the shout-outs. So see you guys in 2 minutes. Thanks for watching those ads. So just the end game shout-outs. If you don't want to listen to them, you don't have to. But thanks for sticking around and watching the cast. Rifkin just was a little bit sick, so hopefully it'll be fine for tomorrow's cast. It's just going to be the VSL in the morning, and then that's the live feed cast if you guys haven't seen it yet or forgot. So I actually think it's a lot of fun though. But damn, is it early. But thank you to everyone who donated today, bits, and to everyone who subbed and all the new subs. And we will be back tomorrow and Friday. And I don't believe we have anything cast for the weekend yet, but we have a lot of plans that we have still set up. So eventually the months will look very, very crowded. We are going to DreamHack Austin and casting live there. So if you're going, say hi to us or book your ticket right now because now's the time to do it. We still have the Match Reno fundraiser going on. If you guys have forgotten about that, then consider donating. We did the AMA, but the team house had lost its power It's the official stance, I guess. So the Korean house wasn't a part of it, and I don't know if there's any plans to do anything more with that. Personally, I was really looking forward to answering all the questions together, but I don't know. We'll see. But certainly you still have everything else going along. The cooking stream was done. If you missed that, it was on Scarlet's stream. And there's a bunch of other rewards and tiers and whatnot that is ready to go. The Bit Boss, people are actually asking about that, and I forgot to reiterate that we do have Bit Boss loot. That's what we're calling it, I guess, which is the end Bit Boss. At the end of the cast, we'll get something pretty cool. We signed a bunch of stuff that we had left over from just a bunch of events when I was at Rifkin's place. So, like, got t-shirts, you got Funko Pops, we got ShoWTimE card decks, like, really anything. So that might be something we do in the future as well, just to incentivize people actually defeating the bosses. And I guess it would be Swagner 98 this time. That'd be pretty cool. What else? Follow BaseTrade on Twitter at BaseTradeTV. Follow me on Twitter at ZvP, on YouTube ZombieGrub, and Twitch ZombieGrub. I did an okay job keeping up on YouTube up until Saturday, and then I didn't have anything else, so I should be doing a bunch more again today and getting that set up. So I'm actually using it, so please consider subscribing, and subscribe to the BaseTradeTV YouTube as well as follow the channel down below. I think that just about covers everything. So, thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you tomorrow, where we'll cover anything I didn't cover anyways. So, bye!